present themselves. You avert the danger not yet arisen. You like people better, and people like you better because you're less evaluative. You're more charismatic. The idea of procrastination and regret can go away, because if you know why you're doing something, you don't take yourself to task for not doing something else. If you're fully present when you decide to prioritize this task, or work at this firm, or create this product, or pursue this strategy, why would you regret it? I've been studying this for nearly 40 years, and for almost any measure, we find that mindfulness generates a more positive result. That makes sense when you realize it's a superordinate variable. No matter what you're doing, eating a sandwich, doing an interview, working on some gizmo, writing a report, you're doing it mindfully or mindlessly. When it's the former, it leaves an imprint on what you do. At the very highest levels of any field, Fortune 50 CEOs, the most impressive artists and musicians, the top athletes, the best teachers and mechanics, you'll find mindful people, because that's the only way to get there. HBR. How have you shown a link between mindfulness and innovation? Langer. With Gabriel Hammond, a graduate student, I ran a study where we asked participants to come up with new uses for products that had failed. We primed one group for mindlessness by telling them how the product had fallen short of its original intended use. To cite a famous example from 3M, a failed glue. We primed the other for mindfulness by simply describing the product's properties, a substance that adheres for only a short amount of time. Of course, the most creative ideas for new uses came from the second group. I'm an artist as well as a researcher, writer, and consultant. Each activity informs the others for me. And I got the idea to study mindfulness and mistakes when I was painting. I looked up and saw I was using ochre when I'd meant to use magenta, so I started trying to fix it. But then I realized I'd made the decision to use magenta only seconds before. People do this all the time. You start with uncertainty. You make a decision, and if you make a mistake, it's a calamity. But the path you were following was just a decision. You can change it at any time, and maybe an alternative will turn out better. When you're mindful, mistakes become friends. HBR. How does being mindful make someone more charismatic? Langer. We've shown this in a few studies. An early one was with magazine salespeople. The mindful ones sold more and were rated as more likable by buyers. More recently, we've looked at the bind that women executives face. If they act in strong, stereotypically masculine ways, they're seen as bitchy. But if they act feminine, they're seen as weak and not leadership material. So we asked two groups of women to give persuasive speeches. One group was told to act masculine, the other to act feminine. Then half of each group was instructed to give their speech mindfully. And we found that audiences preferred the mindful speakers regardless of what gender role they were playing out. HBR. And mindfulness also makes you less judgmental about others? Langer. Yes. We all have a tendency to mindlessly pigeonhole people. He's rigid. She's impulsive. But when you freeze someone in that way, you don't get the chance to enjoy a relationship with them or use their talents. Mindfulness helps you to appreciate why people behave the way they do. It makes sense to them at the time, or else they wouldn't do it. We did a study in which we asked people to rate their own character traits, the things they would most like to change and the things they most valued about themselves. And we found a big irony.